This is the third video in relation to the treason and fraud committed in this country by political parties pretending to be a lawful government, which they are not. Pretending that we have a Prime Minister, which we do not. Pretending we have a national cabinet, which we do not. And the problem they have is the amount of lies are stacking up against them. When I heard the purported Australian Federal Police Commissioner, she can be an Australian Federal Police Commissioner, but she has to, and she's required to, state where in the Constitution her authority comes from. Well, the problem is it doesn't. Nor do state police. It's through imperial acts that they are allowed to exist. But nonetheless, they have to be Commonwealth police, both at state and federal level. State Commonwealth police working in the designated area called the state. The lines that mark it out are fictitious lines on a piece of paper. They do not enable the state to quarantine, seal off, or in any way interfere, because it was transferred to the federal parliament at federation from section 69 to section 51, subsection 9 and all the rest of it. They have no authority. What we have here is a Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK, the Enabling Act, which enables us as a colony of England to have a constitution. The interpretation thereof is contained in the Red Book, this one. It is the Hansard of what took place. What takes place about that is simply every person who exercises authority throughout the Commonwealth does so under the authority granted by the Constitution Act through the Crown. Now, the Labor Party can lie and cheat and steal and tell all its crap, so can all the political parties and the pretend federal police. I say pretend not to be rude, but to tell you in no uncertain terms that you must sit under the Crown. You must be an officer of the Commonwealth. To do that, you're bound by imperial law 1 William and Mary to swear the oath contained in our Constitution. Like it or lump it, that's it. Now, what's going on in this country is absolute nonsense, lies and dribble, because what they're not realising, to be able to sit in our Parliament, Section 42 says clearly, every senator and every member of the House of Representatives, before taking their oath, must swear the oath in the Constitution. Oath in the Constitution. Not on the Quran, not to Allah, not to anybody you think. If you do that, you could commit treason. You breach the oath you owe to the people of this country. To sit in our Parliament and rant and rave and state the floods and everything that went on in Pakistan, they're devastating, they're shocking. But to demand that we pay because somehow our emissions from what we do has caused it all. Well, I only say to that person, it's time you had a good look at how it's caused, because it's not the way you think. And to sit in our Parliament, the other one, and yell at everybody, scream, it's racist, it's racist. As far as I can see, we're all one race. If you want to be a different race, well, tell me what the race is and prove it exists, because we're a human race. We might be different parts of the country. We might have different customs and beliefs. I understand all of that. Our Constitution says follow our customs and beliefs, assimilate into our society, or go home. You're given a choice. You chose to sit in our Parliament. Then you choose to swear the oath contained in our Constitution, or the affirmation, if you don't want to swear to the monarch. Not our problem, it's yours. You want to do what you're doing, that's absolutely fantastic. So it's time that you woke up and did the things you got to do. And as for the purported Police Commissioner of the Australian Federal Police, you work for the Australian government, an entity unknown to our Constitution. It is a parliament set up under the provisions of Chapter 1, 2 and 3 of the Constitution into a legislature, an executive and a judicature. When you look at the Constitution, it clearly states all courts are part of a federal judicial system with a High Court at its summons. How long did it last after they produced the 1979 High Court Act? It didn't. It didn't. And it can't operate after that. You see, the Parliament is not supreme, it's not sovereign, the Constitution says that. It also says the supreme, absolute and uncontrollable authority remains with the people. You want to change or alter things because you can't change them. And the big problem is you're not even looking at that. What it really means with our oaths, our laws, they can't have a Royal Style and Title Act. They weren't given it by anybody. They have to show where in the Constitution they're granted the right to change the Constitution. Because there's no Queen of Australia in our Constitution. To create that and say that's the Queen of this country, you're not very bright. In fact, you're quite dumb because you've changed the Constitution and you have no authority. None. Not one little bit. And you can't do it. Why? Because we said through our Constitution. What we have in our Constitution is the parameters as how we wish to be governed. We don't need your permission. You need ours. You need to comply with our law, the supreme law of this country. The Constitution says not all enactments of the Parliament are valid, only those passed pursuant to, in accordance with, and under the authority granted by the Constitution. So what part don't you understand? Give me a ring. I'll explain it to you if you can't work it out yourself. You're not silly. You're intelligent. Obviously you've had a lot of training in police work. And then you come out and start talking about what you think and we're sovereign citizens and all the rest of it. That doesn't make sense. How can you be sovereign, which means we're in totally control of ourselves, and citizens mean under the control of somebody else? So how does that one work? The Federal Attorney General, I read it into one of the videos, but you weren't in Western Australia or in Australia at that time. You may not have heard, but it is slander to call us a sovereign citizen. You say, well, actually you didn't. Our lovely pretend person called a Prime Minister that doesn't tell the truth, him and Penny Wong and good old Mr. Tony Burke, they decided they were going to lie, mislead and deceive the people into believing the ISIS brides weren't coming here. So how'd they end up here? They brought them here. They lied. You misled and deceived the Parliament. Why are you still sitting there? Oh, because you think you're above the Parliament. I've read the garbage by Anne Toomey that the Parliament sits above the Constitution. No, it doesn't. The Constitution is very clear. Page 676 says the Constitution is above both houses of Parliament. They must comply with it. What part don't you understand, Anne Toomey? Are you going to read it or are you just going to ignore it? Don't say you don't know, because you said the Green Book and the Red Book are exactly the same. They're exactly not the same. They're the exact opposite. So you're not telling the truth either. Are you lying? I don't know. Are you repeating what someone else said without checking it out? That's not very bright. You think, you see, we've got a constitution for Western Australia. We have a budgie one put in. That's a crime. What have you done about that? If you're the police commissioner, what are you going to do about that? as I explained in my last video, I think you should have a look at it, because you'll comprehend the Western Australian election was a fraud. Doesn't matter who did it, it was a fraud. It needs to go to the people for a lawful election. And then, and only then, could you have the federal election. But you're not going to do it. You're trying to conceal it and pretend it didn't happen. It did. It's all over the newspapers on the 2nd and the 3rd. It was clear. Whoever did it, I don't care. You misled and deceived the Parliament or the people, or both. I think the people and not the Parliament. Because you look at Dodgy Roger, he's pretty dodgy when it comes to being honest. So where's the problem? The problem is the election was unlawful. There wasn't enough documents. How many? I don't know, but obviously a lot. And then the problem is a lot of people were turned away, weren't able to vote. So how could you say that was a lawful election? Well, I know you're going to try and talk your way out of it, but unfortunately for you, this was put in place. I'll read it so you understand it. An act to consolidate and amend the law relating to elections to the legislature, reserved the 13th of August 1889, royal assent proclaimed the 20th of June 1890. Whereas it is expedient to consolidate and amend the law relating to elections to the legislature, be it therefore enacted by His Excellency the Governor of Western Australia and its dependencies, by and with the advice and consent of the Legislative Council thereof, as follows. This Act may be cited as the Electoral Act 1889, and shall be divided into parts as hereinafter follows. Victoria. So it's from Queen Victoria. Part 1. Registration of voters. Well, it says, it's unreadable, sorry. Just forget it's from Victoria. It's not. It was from the King. Registration of voters. Conduct of elections. Part 3. Offences and penalties for breaches of it. Part 4. Miscellaneous. This Act shall apply to elections to the new subsisting Legislative Council and to any legislative body or bodies hereinafter to be consolidated. This is imperial law. It's law in this country under the 9 clause of the Constitution, can't be changed, and every election must be held according to it. Each state was given one of them. It is binding on the courts, judges and people of every state through our Constitution. You sit as a police commissioner and you say, the shocking things happened. There's that many stories coming out now about what happened on that beach. If people got killed and they've got the offenders, then they should be dealt with. I get that. Then good old Albanese brings up Desi and the issue at Queensland. They haven't investigated the one definitely in Victoria with Desi Freeman, but he says, oh, he's a sovereign citizen. No, Albanese, you're a moronic citizen. You have not told the truth so many times, you've been caught out lying. I had to cut out someone trying to cut in. We have a bit of interference now and again, I can't help that. The problem they have, I cut it off, it's fine, don't worry about it. The problem I have is you then, to shut me up, I keep cutting it out, it keeps coming back in again, so don't worry about it, it's not going to stop. When it goes to, I just wipe it out. Now, you attack my just clown Dewey. Well, tell her to stop calling. She's cutting into this thing. I'm sorry. We just have to do it. Okay, it's just somebody cutting in. We just have to stop them so that they don't interfere with the video. Right, now getting back to what I was saying. The problem we have is these people from, like little Tony Burke, he decided he had the authority through one of his agents, can't even put the name down. His agent's name, by the way, is 0000391. No name, no signature, no nothing, and demanded all these things with a threat that my wife's application for citizenship be removed. But so we got a lot of testimony showed she never did. Well, it says she's a reliable type of person, and that's true. It is. What they're trying to say is she shares my opinions. No, she shares her own opinions. She has complied with every single part of Immigration Act. We've been married for 9.5, almost 10 years. And this act, which is the Lawful Immigration Act, clearly states that once you have been married for a specific time, she is naturalised. Now, we applied, because we work together on everything, for her to become a citizen. You said your policy's not law. And the alteration to the Immigration Acts, all of them, is fraud and treason. It was made treason approximately 26 years ago, along with every single thing that the political parties have done since Federation. Because we voted not to have a republic. We voted to retain the Crown. We said we do not accept that Aboriginals are the first inhabitants of Australia. Don't get green and wrinkled at me. I didn't say it. It was voted in. And we did not vote for the rule of law where it says we're guilty until proven innocent. The big problem we have is we decided we weren't going to have what you proposed. Was that referendum lawful to have it? No. So software's just cut in. We're gaining some really heavy interference, so you'll just have to work with me because things keep cutting in on this computer. There's something going wrong with it. It's being done deliberate. And here they go again, having another go at blocking it out. I took it out again. You just watch. It keeps coming in. That's not doing it either. It's all right. We're back to what's going on now. This act is an imperial act. It's law in this country under our constitution. No one pretending to be a lawful Australian government, all with ABN numbers and everything else, has the authority to change it. Everyone who sits in this country with any type of authority sits inside the Commonwealth, held to the Constitution and the common law. It's back on again. Come and have a look at it quick. Application error. This is what it keeps coming up with. That's the third time it's cut in, so somebody's playing with it, but nonetheless, we'll go back to it. That referendum took out everything that the political parties have done from Federation until now and said, we don't want it, we don't want what you've created, we don't like any of the decisions of the court. Some of the decisions of the High Court are correct. When Michael Kirby said in the High Court, no Parliament by preambular assertion can speak an authority into being when none exists in law. And they can't. It has to be granted.
Keep going.
It has to be granted by our Constitution or it does not exist in law. Page 795, the fourth paragraph, states that. And if you exercise authority, you are required to state where in the Constitution your authority comes from. There is no authority for the federal police. If they're police, they're employed by the Commonwealth, which is the people, not the Parliament, which is not. It's not a government. It's actually a registered company, but we're not going down that road, and it is fact. They're just misleading, deceiving, and lying to you. That's the problem that's playing up again on that one thing.
Just don't say anything.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, we're back to normal again. We're having a lot of trouble with them cutting across us, but at the end of the day, if you decide you're going to prosecute people, and somebody said you're going to do it the same way as England, no, you're not. We're not the same as England. And the Labour Party has known since 1936, when they were told, you will sit under the Constitution in the Commonwealth. You were told you were. Who by England itself, they told you. So you have to abide by it, because we are, under Clause 8, a self-governing colony of England till we decide. We decided not to go your way. We decided to retain what we got. So all your books, your junk, your garbage and documents are binned. Get back, have a state voting in this state for a lawful parliament. One that complies with the Imperial Act that says how you're going to do it. Till then, nothing you've done is lawful. Don't sit there and say, oh, we're going to do it anyway, because you're not. You want to push the people over the edge, keep pushing. Stop being stupid. You're taking guns out, what for? Because you think some criminal somehow has obtained a licence when he's under the watch of Asia or whoever, and he goes and shoots people, and we have to pay the penalty because we have lawful guns. Well, I don't. I don't. And I've had enough of playing your silly games. We send everything I'm saying, including this, into England so they can see what you're doing. And there is a huge committee that is dedicated, there's 21 of them, to constitutional breaches in Australia and New Zealand. So sooner or later they're going to get sick of the videos, or they're going to start doing something about it. Dwayne Simpson, the Australian Constitution is still illegal. The green one is. You're talking nonsense if you reckon the other one. You have no idea. So don't go down that road and get off my post. The Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK gave us permission as a colony, as 6 colonies, to unite in one at the Federation of Australia. All the lies and nonsense never going to take out that fact. I don't care. If you want to be I'm not even going to refer to you. You're a donkey if you say the Constitution's invalid. It's not. It's fact, it's law. Try abiding by it and stop your garbage. It's alright, I deal with it. Now, the thing is, I agree if you want to pass these laws. I agree. But why are you hammering the people that have lawful firearms? In this state, which is the worst state for, or the best for firearms, you register each individual firearm. Do the others? They never used to. If they do, make them do it, so you know how many guns they got. Not give them a shooter's license and let them buy what they like, which was happening in the eastern states, and I don't know if it hasn't. And the federal police, get off your butts. Tell the federal parliament that is not a government, we are going to investigate Port Arthur. If he was mentally incapable of sitting, he couldn't make a plea. You know that. I know that. So why did you do it? Why are you allowing it? Why have you allowed the federal parliament to conceal pedophilia? They can't pass anything, any law, because they can't pass laws anyway. We don't have a lawful Governor General. We don't have any governors. You can't pass any laws without them being lawful. There is no Queen of Australia. We are not a colony, or a government. We are a colony. We are not what you try to put over, and we govern ourselves. No, we don't. You govern according to the authority we granted you under our Constitution. The rest is lies. You can sit there, you can say, oh, the Queensland incident was done by sovereign citizens. No, it wasn't. That's just the same as saying the federal police went up there and shot them all. And in Desi's case, the federal police shot them all. Tasmania, federal police shot them all. Is it true? No. But it's better than you not doing anything, because guess what? If you don't investigate them properly, and none of them have been, Desi's never been convicted, and you're making statements you can't back up. Therefore, you are guilty of those offences if you're blaming somebody else without any authority. You reckon you've got the evidence. Produce it. Produce it. If the supreme, absolute and uncontrollable authority remains with the people, why don't you produce it? Oh no, you're making that so you can't do anything about it. You don't want anybody to look at it and scrutinise you. It's same as you don't want, these hate laws. They're not hate. I don't hate any of you, so I don't know you. What I don't like is I don't like you not dealing with it. So someone else takes the fall. How do we know one of those cops went rogue and shot him? Now they're saying there was only 5 or 3 when Desi was there. But the pictures actually showed there was more. And obviously the person on the camera said that made 8. So there, that story goes by the wayside. It's just another load of rubbish from some troll. The big thing we have is, why don't you put the whole story out there? And how come the Queensland Police Union owns the land where those people were shot there? Why hasn't it been put to a lawful coroner sitting under the Crown? Why haven't you sworn the oath of allegiance to the Crown so you can sit inside the Commonwealth held to the Constitution and the common law? Why aren't you doing it? Until you are, you're sitting in treason. You are employees of an unlawful government known as the Australian government, registered in America. How come you're doing all of that? Why won't you tell the truth? If you're going to make threats to stop people going on Facebook or the internet because of false information or all the rest of the nonsense you've come out with, produce the evidence. You answer to us. You're there to serve and protect the people, not serve and protect corporations and companies. You're not there for that. You're paid for by the people's tax to serve and protect us. Why aren't you doing that? Why are you continually lying about everything that's going on? To protect your narrative, to protect Albanese and the liars that sit with him. It's time you woke up. I can tell you now, we're not going away. We can go to England because they have a committee deals with people like you who refuse to abide by our law. I don't hate any of you, so it's not hate speech. It's telling everybody what their rights are under the supreme law, being the Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK, and all laws made pursuant to it, under the authority granted, nothing else. So, if you go outside there, you are the ones that are sovereign citizens. You've made yourself above us, that's sovereignty, and your citizens are the one world system and the United Nations. We're not a nation. You can't declare us a nation. We can't. We, as a people, every person in this country, whereas the people of New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, Tasmania, South Australia and Western Australia join together in one indissoluble federation of the Commonwealth of Australia. It's not dissoluble. You can't touch it. You're trying to say you have because some communist, socialist nitwit claims he has authority over this country when he doesn't. So I'll just leave it with you, and you just carry on with your stuff and correct your problems. I don't hate you. I can see you've had the education, so I know you've got the ability to do it. So you just deal with it. Deal with it, and the whole lot of you start telling the truth.